doing here? Oh, they changed the little format. That's nifty. Okay, folks, well, I hope everyone's doing well. I am finally back in my hometown, or my current hometown, until the company decides to move me somewhere else. And I hope all of you are having a safe day today. It is Super Bowl weekend. What is it, Seahawks and Patriots? Neither a Texas team. I will always cheer the Patriots if they're playing the Jets because I don't like the Jets. I'm salty, but that's an old thing between me and that team. Um, but I'd love for the Seahawks to win. I believe the Seahawks are favored, but we shall see. But anyway, I didn't come on here to talk about football. Hey, Farmer Billy. Hey, Moldy Soldier. What's going on? So I just walked out of a gun show, surprisingly empty. I will tell you the gun shows have changed over the last few years. They are more like a general show. There was jewelry, there was silver and gold like numismatics, ammo, firearms, Cerakoting. There were people with tactical gear. There were people with goodies like roasted pecans and roasted peanuts, almost like a carnival. And outside of the gun show were food trucks, pizza, burgers, tacos. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, James. Um, hey, Gigi's, what's going on, Farmer? So really cool. Um, I saw a few deals as a guy I've bought my HKs from. He usually has really good pricing for a gun show guy. And he has a subcompact HK that I'm looking for something super concealable, and that one looked really good. So now I'm kind of like, but it's spendy, so I'm kind of like, it has dollars, and dollars, I'm trying to save dollars considering everything going on. Um, hey, my mother Spark, good to see you, and Rob, everyone else, Loretta, Kane Corso. That guy bought an SBR. He's a happy camper. And a hoodie as well. In any case, couple interesting stories while I was on my road trip. Yeah, I gotta save the dollars for sure. New Hampshire, Florida. I don't know. I would take any of those states. I think you'd be okay. Just if you go too far south, you get the hurricanes. You go too far north, you get the blizzards or nor'easters, which are basically a snow-a-cane. Snow, take your pick. Everywhere has something. But in any case, Georgia. Georgia's pretty country, by the way. So in any case, so right now, the Iranian government has told President, I'm going to move over because this poor guy needs a parking spot. So I'm going to go park at the end of the parking lot here. The Iranian government has basically expressed they don't intend to stop playing with uranium. Just from a physics standpoint, when you are refining uranium for energy, it needs to be, I think it's anywhere from 3 to 7% pure uranium in the alloy to deliver the needed radiation to provide electricity. The Iranians are right now refining it to 70%, which is almost bomb grade. So, they're going back and forth. We can't control that stuff, right? And I think what's going to happen, they're going to topple the government somehow. I just don't know what the plan is to make sure you don't have a power vacuum. What that will do for all of us is, oh, hey, Neil. Neil, I was about to go live with a silver and gold guy at the gun show who you'd probably enjoy listening to. And he had a bunch of customers come in, and it had been a slow show. And I'm like, dude, you need to make some sales to pay for the show. So I'm gonna hit him up at a later time. But you almost had a real neat treat this morning. It would have been live in the gun show, but talking about gold and silver, which would have been funny. But anyway, the Iran thing, we can't control that, right? Whether we like or don't like the president or the Ayatollah, there's not much we can do. What you can do, though, is to make sure that, hey, Hudson, what's going on? Make sure you factor in fuels, right? And all of you live in different places, right? I'm literally in the midst of solar, wind, and oil and gas country in Texas. you go to certain parts of the country, they have to truck everything in. So again, generators, if you have generators, having some gas to run them. Remember, generators can be dangerous. You get carbon monoxide coming out of those. So you cannot run them near the house. One of my coworkers, who's kind of like-minded, he said what he had done, he lived on the coast, is once the hurricane passed, he pulled the generator away from the house and took all his like jackeries and anything he had to charge and took it to the generator because the rain was done, turned it on out there and charged everything away from the house. Then he brought everything back in for the night, and then he secured the generator so it didn't get stolen. But if you have instability in Iran, Iran makes a shit ton of oil, and it can affect the market. So make sure you use stabilizer. Keep your tanks topped off as best you can. I know money's tight for everyone, but make sure, make sure you, I've accepted my, hey, some random dude. Yeah, and Hudson Valley's getting clobbered with snow and cold stuff right now. We went from 33 this morning. It's now 85, and I'm in a hoodie. I'm dying. But if there's a fuel disruption, right? Venezuela seems to have settled down, which means they made a deal. Nobody will admit to it, but a deal was made. And we've just given them back their tankers. Here you go. You can have your tankers back now. So a deal was made. Iran doesn't want to make a deal. Iran, the government getting kicked will greatly affect China. So China's not a fan. But that can affect oil and gas, which will affect propane, butane, diesel, standard gas, a lot of other affiliated products. So if you do use a propane, you use a generator of any type, your cars, and you can safely store fuel, remember you need stabilizer. It is an organic compound, right? So it's carbon-based. If you, hence the name hydrocarbon, if you don't put a stabilizer in it after about 6 months, depending on the temperature in your area, it will start to break down and not be very effective. It could actually hurt your engine. So make sure you have, yeah, farmer, and that's what I try to do. I try not to go below half a tank at any point in time. Even if I'm on a road trip and I'm at 3/4 tank and I see a good sized gas station, I'll pull over, get a snack, get that extra quarter tank in, because you never know. If you drive, even if you're driving and you hit a construction zone and you have to go around, now you have an extra 50 miles to get around whatever the hell happened. It doesn't have to be a terror attack. It could be a jackknife tractor trailer that spilled chemicals and now you have a hazmat. You're gonna need that. You're gonna need that extra fuel, so keep your tanks topped. If you're storing it in containers, put stabilizer. If you use butane or propane, like the big white tanks on your property, check them, check the fill. See if you need to get a delivery truck to come over and top off the tank for the homestead if you need it. There's not much else we can do, right? We don't affect Iran. We can't really affect what any president does, but we can at least understand how their decisions can affect our personal supply chain and react accordingly, right? The bottom line is you still got to get to work. You got to go shopping. So if you have a full tank, it's one less thing to worry about. Someone gets sick at 2 a.m., your kid ate something, gets food poisoning. You're not, oh my God, I ran out of gas on the way to the hospital, right? You have a full tank, you're not worried. So be smart, plan those things out. The other news story I wanted to talk about was the disappearance of Sam Guthrie's mom. I think it's Deborah Guthrie, or did I mix that up? Yeah, Deborah's the mom. She's an elderly lady and 84, and apparently was kidnapped. At least that's the working theory now. Samantha Guthrie is a news reporter. Supposedly her husband's company specializes in public relations for politicians and Hollywood people when they're in trouble, to kind of make the news, and they go in social media and they kind of make you look better than you should. There is a conspiracy theory that Hillary has to testify, and she asked them to take the case, and they're like, we're not touching it because you're radioactive with this Epstein shit, and that Hillary had the mom kidnapped. That sounds, well, you never know, but that's, I don't know the validity of that. But that's not where I'm going with the conversation. My conversation today is about an elder going missing. Whether it's an elderly person or a child or even an adult healthy family member. That is well, Neil, they get paid a lot to do that. They are a damage, that's right. Yardbirds, they are a damage control company, but on steroids. Like, they hit Facebook. They can do enough, apparently, from what I read about them, to change the algorithm on TikTok. Like, that's how massive they are. And you pay for this, of course. But like a lawyer, certain lawyers will be like, I'm not touching your case because it's a train wreck. Thank you, Hudson. I appreciate that. It's important when you're traveling, or if you're at home, you have elders, you have teenagers, you have kids. Have a plan in place to check in on each other. Okay, now Hudson Valley has some great videos about no comms plans. If you haven't, go to his channel. And Hudson, throw your link in there if you get a minute. Hey, Coffee, good morning. And anyone I missed in the chat's kind of blowing by me right now. He talks about no comms, right? Everything from radios to like knowing when to meet at certain times. You should have a similar principle when you do have comms. Family checks, right? Friend checks. A good example, many of you who follow me know I just came from a convention. We were supposed to meet a coworker. We were carpooling, pick him up at 5:30. We called the guy driving, called him, emailed, text, no response. He called me, I was already up. I'm like, come get me, I'll load my shit and we'll go back to his house. We went back, I rang the bell, knocked on the door, couldn't get a hold of him, called my boss. And I'm like, hey, I can't get a hold of my guy. He said, let me call this guy's boss. And long story short, HR drove to their house, knocked on the door, rang the bell, nobody responded. Now we're thinking, oh shit, something happened. As you guys remember, 4 years ago, I lost a coworker. He just didn't show up to work, a colleague. 31 years old, he fell, I guess he'd been drinking, he fell, hit his head, and died in his kitchen. We found out when he didn't show up to work, and a coworker went there, and then we called in a wellness check. So anyway, they called a wellness check on my coworker. This guy was not dead. He had gotten sick the night before, and he took NyQuil, and it knocked him on his ass. So we finally got a hold of him at 8:30 with the police in his living room. It was a great story. Needless to say, we gave him shit the whole conference, but I was happy that my buddy, my coworker, was okay. He's a good guy. He got little kids. I'm like, okay, he's good. This kind of stuff's important, folks. Gotta roll my dinner rolls. Be listening and lurking. No worries, Coffee. I appreciate you jumping in. Hey, oops. Yeah, and Neil, that's why we carpool, right? On the way there, everyone had a passenger, right? Because we were carpooling. So one guy was designated to text the group on a group text. Hey, we just made it to Dallas. Hey, so-and-so's coming up from Houston. He just made a pit stop at this point. So when everyone arrived, by the time everyone got to the convention, there was a text chain showed, hey, car number 1 made it, car number 3 made it, car number 2 made it, car number 4 is making a pit stop. We hit some weather. But we all knew that everyone had made it by the time the convention kicked off. Again, my friend was fine. He was embarrassed. Of course, everyone picked on the poor guy, the whole convention. But what if he had fallen? And this Deborah Guthrie story, which apparently she was kidnapped, we don't know. She may have dementia. I don't think she does, but if she had dementia, maybe she wandered into the woods. The bottom line is someone who is loved by the family is missing. If, hey, I don't answer my phone or the front door, please don't call it wellness. No, but Yardbirds, in this case, he had told us I will meet you at this time, come to my door. And what's even scarier is when HR knocked, we couldn't get a hold of him. They called his wife. The wife called and then called the house and couldn't get him. And then she freaked out because she was on a business trip of her own. And fortunately, she was able to remote unlock the front door so the cops didn't have to kick it in. Poor guy's like in his boxers and a t-shirt, and there's, PD and HR in his living room. Embarrassing, yeah. A great story that we're going to pick on him for a year, absolutely. But what if he had fallen down in the shower? What if he ate something that knocked him on his ass, he hit his head? Things like that. It's important to have a way. Trish. Yeah, and again, you have to be careful. You don't just randomly call wellness checks on people, right? That's not cool. But if you all have a designated agreement, hey, we have a work site visit, and one guy doesn't show up, and you can't call him, wife can't call, or husband can't reach them, kids can't reach them, and they said, yeah, I'll be there, we have business, that's an important thing. Yes, and Hudson Valley, man, I wish I could highlight that comment. That's a huge comment right there. Your mutual group, your MAG, i.e. your MAG, whether you're in a veterans group, you're on a softball team, whatever, a bar team, whatever it is, check on your people. You have bad weather like Hudson's getting right now. You have elderly neighbors. Go walk across the street if you can safely do so. Ring the bell. Hey, how are you? You okay? You need anything? Put eyes on them, right? When my son came back from deployment, him and his buddies, I drove 5 hours that weekend, and I brought a cot with me, and I brought a bottle of scotch and a bottle of bourbon and a handful of pizzas, and I showed up. I said, get your boys here. And I had a whole pile of these idiots get into the apartment. We had drinks. I put eyes on every one of those guys, just to make sure they were okay, because deployments, even if it's not a combat deployment, people get hurt, accidents happen, something happens. It's important to check on your people. I hope they find this old woman okay. I hope she's not. And thank you, Hudson. I appreciate that. Boy, and the trolls are so bad. Like, that's not even a funny comment. We had one guy in here making amazing dad jokes, and he was being a troll, but he was funny as shit. And I let him stay in the chat because it was fun. And that person actually joined into the conversation. Yeah, well, Jim is gone. That's fine. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can see him. And he's gone. Did I get him? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, there's no more Jim. Thanks for playing, Jim. That's awesome. But oh God, now random dudes with the dad jokes. Somebody ask him what he call a fish with no eyes. Eyes hit the. Hey, Wolf Eyes, welcome. Hey, Scrapper, good to see you again. Welcome back. So, folks, look, the old lady was living alone. The reason they realized she was gone was because I think, and I'm still getting bits and pieces, they get a call from someone saying they had the mom. That's awful, or the brother checked. I don't remember the story, but it's important. You have teenagers, especially if you're out of town or if you're at work and they're coming from school. Hey, text me when you get home. Call me when you get home. I want to make sure you made it home okay, right? Again, my coworker, right? He made an agreement. Yeah, we're going to meet at this time. We had formal business. He didn't show up and we couldn't find him. And then his spouse couldn't find him. And then everyone freaked out. Wellness check. Embarrassing, yes, but he's okay. And that's what's important. He could have fallen down. He could have gotten sick. A lot of things could have happened. I can't emphasize this enough because in the last 4 years, I've had this happen several times where someone was supposed to go somewhere. They didn't show up. And in one case, it was embarrassing and funny. Another case, their phone died, and it was just stupid. In one case, we lost a friend. We had a friend who passed away. I lost another friend in the floods in Central Texas. Nobody knew that the couple was there. They did, and they were with their, it was two sisters and the husbands. They were, when the floods happened last year in Texas, they were there. Nobody in the society, she's part of a professional organization, we didn't know where they were. We found out after the fact. And it's one of those things, it's like, wow, they're going to get flooding there, and I know my friend is on the lake. I'm going to text my friend or shoot him an email. Hey, they were predicting flooding in your area. You may want to, move your tent away from the river, whatever. Check on your people, have a plan in place to say, hey, we're going to have bad weather in Texas, right? Texas doesn't do well with ice all over the roads. We don't have the snowplow capability to clean it fast. Check on your friends. Hey, shut down work. Did you leave the work site? If you didn't, go directly to a hotel, stay there, right? Hey, I didn't hear from so-and-so. Did he make it home? Did he have a car wreck? This can be for family. This can be, go to the house. Well, Trish, in this case, I went actually, and then we couldn't reach, but we had to leave because we were due for a meeting. So we called management. Management assigned someone else to go follow up, and they said maybe he slept in, he's not feeling good. That guy couldn't get a hold of the coworker, and then they got a hold of HR. HR called next of kin saying, hey, do you know what's going on? And the family couldn't get a hold. And then everyone said, oh. But yes, we went through steps because we don't want to have cops and kick in someone's door and the guy's taking a shit. That would be so bad and well-intentioned but terrible, right? But in this case, again, no hurt, no oh, Vivian. Yes, and no, yeah, no, I know, Rob. But yeah, hey, Vivian, sorry. I don't have my glasses, so I'm missing people. Then all the neighbors are watching. And we have cop friends, and every now and then one of them will be a shit. And, he'll come by because he wants to pick up, I don't know, we're going to go clay shooting or something. Shows up in a police car with the lights on. And then turns them off and walks up and goes, hey, what's up? I'm like, fucker. Really, dude? Now all the neighbors are freaking out. They're like, why are the cops at Pete's house? Why is he giving the cop a bottle of bourbon? Anyway. Although that is funny too. That's original. But folks, look, whether you're traveling, you're in a storm, you're having some kind of natural incident, or God forbid, a terror attack, something crazy, or you just haven't heard from someone in your circle, check on them, a text, a call. Sometimes my coworkers will leave for vacation. They'll ask me, hey, keep an eye on my house. And I'll just drive by the house. I'm just looking to see, did anyone break in the door, broke the windows? Do they have a package I need to pick up? And I'll leave it in my garage till they come back. Watch out for each other. I think we underappreciate the importance of community. The payoff, yeah, exactly. Called in a welfare check so great-grandparents could get caught. Oh, although that's a hell of a story, Scrapper. Things that never happened. What are you talking about? Yeah, well, you can go to Shaboba too, my friend. Bye. Honestly, the trolls, I don't think they're real people. They have no followers. If you ever look at the trolls that say bad things, they just throw random shit into the comments. But in any case, folks, look, see if you're still kicking. Yeah, and it can start with a quick phone call. Hey, everyone good? Are you okay? Do you need anything? But if you're traveling especially, or if you have not heard from someone, especially if they're elderly, they're recovering from like a surgery or an illness, or they may be disabled, they can't get around well, it's important to have some kind of plan. How do I reach you if there's an emergency? Excuse me, before I call the police, another way to avoid a wellness check is to, if you have a family member like my son, he has a key to their house. So if something were to happen and he was in town, he could get in. And, he'd probably call, knock on the door, and then announce himself, but he can get into the home, right? I have the phone number of not only him, but the other guys in his platoon, 3 or 4 of them on my phone. So if I see a call from any of them, I know something's up, right? Little things like that. Have a wellness check plan. And again, calling cops or an ambulance for wellness should be the last option. Please, please, please. You don't want to kick in a door and a guy's in the toilet, or the husband and wife are having sex or something like that. That would be awful. That would be a bad story for somebody. But folks, be careful. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Check on one another. Okay, if you have a neighbor you know's elderly, I got a widower on my street. He lost his wife a few years ago. I'll drive by his house after work to see if his truck's in, see if he's in the yard. I'll pull over just to say hi for 5 minutes. Hey, I can't stay long. I got a phone meeting, but how you doing? Everything good? Dog's okay? It makes a difference. It's important, especially to the people you care about. It does embarrass both parties, without a doubt. Yeah, the cops will probably be traumatized too. Anyway, folks, look, be good, be safe out there, take care of each other, and pay attention to what's going on, especially close to you. Because this, stuff in Iran could screw up a supply chain, but that takes a while to get to us. A family member getting sick and passing out is very close and personal. So y'all keep an eye on each other. God bless. I'll see you guys next week. And remember, the Four Horsemen will be on my channel on Tuesday, and that should be a lot of fun. So you guys be good, be safe, stop posting. If I stop posting regularly, expect a check. You know what? That's not a terrible thing. We've actually had that happen. There was another YouTuber who shall remain nameless, not one of the Four Horsemen, who completely fell off the grid and nobody knew where they were. We finally got a hold, and it turned out wife was sick in the hospital, and he was handling work, kids, wife. These things happen. They happen in real life to people just like us. So that's what you check on. And yes, anyway, I poke Pete in the face. Poke. Anyway, look, be good, be safe. She didn't want them to take her to the house. At least you could get someone to check on. Yeah, it's all you can do, Astatine. And it's meant in good faith. Check on your people, check on your creators check on each other. And God bless, be safe, and I will see you guys later this week.